Hey, this is Cup of Motivation with Bukola Shaba, and it's another story time. I'm so excited. I want to start by saying a big thank you to everyone who engaged on my last story time. It seemed to make some kind of impact, and I really appreciate all those who gave me feedback. People liked it, who shared it. I really appreciate all of you. That was really great, and I think the best part for me were people that I had not spoken to in a while. Some, almost 10 years or more, reached out to me. That was just mind blowing, and I was able to reconnect. So I felt, it makes sense to do more videos, right? Who knows how many more old friends my videos would dig out. But I really love it, and even for my new friends, thank you all so much for your lovely feedback, your comments, and everything. That said, today I want to tell a story of my experience traveling to the United States for my master's degree, right? And I'm just going to try and say some really important part. I don't know if I'll be able to get through everything because I'm trying not to make it extra long. It's going to be a bit long, disclaimer. All right, so it started with when I was so I'm going to start from when I was in the university. I remember that for some reason I must have gotten exposed to some kind of talk or something, and I decided that I didn't want a master's degree, that instead of actually studying a master's degree for 1 or 2 years, I would rather just take short certifications or short courses, for a couple of months in different areas, so that, because I had various interests, right, so that I could learn as much as possible in different fields and things like that. So I never was a big believer in master's degrees. So as we're rounding up, there were talks about, so what happens next? Of course, we're going for NYSC, but a lot of people were already thinking about doing a master's degree, and all of that. And I remember meeting one of my professors, he was a doctor at the time, but now a professor, Professor Jebode. I actually had a conversation with him, and I won't forget one of the first things he told me. He said, so my question was, sir, why do I need to get a master's degree? And his next response was, I'm not a mistress degree. I still have that recorded. Anyway, it was, a very jovial person. And he went on to just let me know that, well, he knew me as a student. He taught me from 100 level to final year, and that he could tell that I would probably end up in the non-profit sector, and he thinks that if I'm going to go far and go fast on that route, that it will be helpful to get a master's degree. So my mind started to get a shift from that point. But I went on to NYSC, took my first job, and for some reason I wasn't so big. At some point I tried to get into, what's the school now? LBS, but the media side of things. We are now Pan Atlantic University, the School of Media and Communications. I don't know if they still have it. A friend of mine had gone there, Ferdinand Adimefe, and was excelling as this media guy. And I'm like, wait, I could do this too. So I went. It was going to cost about $1 million. I'm like, I can't. My family can't afford that. I definitely can't make that up in the meager salary I was earning at the time. So that became like a distant dream, until one of my best friends traveled to the United States for a master's degree. Then we started to talk, and she started telling me about experience and everything, and I'm like, one day it just dawned on me that you can travel. And meanwhile, I'd never traveled, maybe I'd gone to Ghana my entire life. So it's like, the money wasn't necessarily there. I didn't know how everything was going to happen, but for some reason I just got it in my head that I can go do my master's in the United States. And guess where I started from? I started from Google. My brother calls it University of Google. I started from Google, and I searched. So I asked myself, what do you want to study? I wanted to study communication, but at the time, so here's another important part. I was switching careers from media. I'd worked in broadcast media for a bit, and I was switching from media. I wanted to go into core development work. And I thought that a master's degree could be a really good bridge, to cross from that, from media to development studies, or development work rather. So I was looking for a course that had a bridge of both, So I started to type communication and development, United States masters, in Google. And the first school, I remember the first time I did the search, the first school that came up was Ohio University. Fun fact, Ohio University I think is the one of two, if not even the only one, that has that marriage between communication and development. So that was amazing, right? So it was the first school and I went on their website and I started to research, I started to read about the course, and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting, and all of that, saw testimonials from students who had passed. And what I did next is something that I think that everybody needs to take note of, right? Before I sent in any applications, during my research process, I stumbled on the email of the director in charge of the department at Ohio University, Communication and Development Studies Department. I found this email. I wrote him an email telling him giving him a little bit background to say, oh, this is me, this is what I studied, this is what I've done, this is what I'm hoping to do, and I'm just trying to find out if I'm a right fit. So the point there is, I made contact and I registered my presence in a way. I don't know, how that eventually mattered, but I think it did a little bit. So I sent that email. A couple of days later, I got a response saying, oh, this is fantastic. I have students coming from Nigeria all the time. I think that your background is really great and you will do well in this program. So I think you should go for it. So that gave me a lot of validation, right? So I started to do the whole, write the essays, sending my transcripts and all that. And then I put in the application. I remember I was on air. I was still working at a radio station at the time. I was on air. It was sometime in April. Oh my goodness. I think it was March or early April when I got the email that says, congratulations, you've been offered provisional admission for fall semester. And I screamed so much that the person that was on air, I think my shift hadn't started or something, it was late afternoon. My shift was evening. So I screamed so much that the person that was on air in the radio booth heard my scream and I was like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was just super excited. And from there, I applied. Mind you, I don't even think I had maybe 20K in savings. I didn't really have money. I didn't have, and it's good to save, right? If you have a job and you're looking to go do your masters and all that, it's really good to put money together before you go. But also, this is to say that if you don't have it all together, just start the process and take it one day at a time. Luckily for me, I had the support of my family. They were always encouraging me. They gave me money. They helped me at different points to, get a visa, to get an appointment to do the visa and all of that, to travel to Lagos to do it. I was working in Benin City at the time. I had to take time off work, go and do my interview. I was lucky and I got a visa, and and I think after getting the visa, that was when the real thing started. But that's another story, right? It was a bit of a struggle. I was scared a lot. I think my brother was in the US at the time, and even one of my sisters was also there, and they just kept encouraging me, we're gonna make this work. And just last minute, something came through my mom, and she had this lump sum that she was able to give to me to buy my ticket. And I landed in the United States with $2,000 and something dollars. I don't think it was up to $2,500. And in the process too, I didn't just fold my arms waiting for money to drop from heaven. I remember reaching out to a few friends, to help me. I remember reaching out. So these are key salient points I wanted to bring out in this video. The first one was, even before I did the application process or whatever, I reached out to somebody at the school, a director at the school, who sort of validated me in a sense, and gave me the confidence to go ahead and apply. And then afterwards, when it became a money matter, I started to reach out to friends and family, and then I also reached out to students at the school. I remember that I had contemplated taking a loan from Nigeria, like a huge loan. And I reached out. In the process of reaching out, somebody introduced me to somebody, and somebody through LinkedIn, through Facebook. These were strangers, right? I just tell them, I just got this admission, I'm coming, and I'm broke, and I'm wondering if I can take a loan and if I'll be able to pay back and all that. The person told me, no, don't take a loan. Scratch, find the money however you can to just get here. Don't try to have everything to come. Just be able to afford, your first few weeks or months or whatever, like just come with something, because there was a job waiting for me actually. So the person knew that I wasn't exactly going to be stranded if I at least came with something to start with, right? So yeah, I did that, and I ended up, like I said, my mom came through for me, so I didn't have to take a loan. And I'm so glad I did, because it would have been terrible if I had taken a loan, because what I was getting was really peanut. Took a minute for me to get a steady job and all of that, but that's another story. So yeah, so for me, it was God's favor, it was Google, it was, it was also a lot of effort in like just reaching out to people and networking with people that I did not even know. So some people don't, and I had friends who eventually, I had a particular friend who eventually came to that school, and I remember that I went through a similar process where he would often reach out to me and ask questions and all of that, and he even got a better deal than I did. I got partial scholarship, and I think he got a full scholarship or something like that, or he got a job that was really juicy, like his package was great. I didn't even get that, but that's the benefit of people that have gone ahead of you, so they can advise you on certain mistakes they made and things like that, and you can use it. So network. You don't have to know them from the get-go. Just reach out, know what you want, go for it, right? Yeah, so I hope that was able to encourage you somewhat, maybe. Thank you again for all those who watch this. I'll be back again next week. Bye. Stay safe.